Hey everyone, this is a quick introduction to the flipped classroom. About 10 years ago, I started flipping one of my AP physics classes, and I bought a book called Flip Your Classroom. Reach every student in every class every day. And it's by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, their chemistry teachers. And yes, I do have a copy of the book
But I get it first.
that you could borrow from Jamie when she's done with it. This intro is just a little bit about what I learned from reading the book and trying it out in my classroom. So first off, we want to know, what is a flipped classroom? So if you look at the picture up here on the top left, the students are fairly passively engaged. They are all assigned a task, and the teacher's role here is really just someone that is monitoring what they're doing and not really addressing the needs of the students. And then when they get home at night, the students are actively engaged in problem solving, but they're all alone, and that causes some frustration. Well, in the flipped classroom model, the direct input happens at home. When the teacher is not necessary. The teacher isn't necessarily needed at this point in time because it's fairly passive. The students are just intaking the content. Where during the class, the students may need the teacher for problem solving and critical thinking and applying their skills and discussion. And that's a time when the teacher is necessary and should be present in the classroom to help role model problem solving and proper discourse. So the flipped classroom essentially switches what a traditional classroom used to look like, where what was assigned as homework before is now assigned as classwork, and what was classwork before is now assigned as homework. So how does flipping aid personalization? Well, a proper flipped classroom doesn't really need to have a video. It could have a reading. It could have a web quest. In fact, it can really have anything that you assign at night that the teacher really doesn't need to be present for. I mean, I used to love showing videos in my class to students because there's so many great videos out there, but after a while I started realizing, do I really need to be present during this video? And is that really the best use of my time? And so flipping allows me to share really cool content and really cool ideas with the students where I'm not really necessary, but spend my time in class working with students and engaging with them in smaller numbers while they're problem solving, while they're working on some of those higher cognitive tasks that we traditionally assigned for homework. So some of the challenges that the book addresses and that I address is, what about the kids that don't watch the video? Well, this isn't a new problem. We all struggle with having kids complete all of our homework, and it's no different in the flipped classroom model. There are some tools and techniques that you can use in order to see who watched the video. Edpuzzle and Kahoot, which are some things that you'll learn about later on in this session, can help you see whether students actually watch the video, and so could Google Forms. But all in all, it still comes down to the student, and they need to be doing their homework in order to be moving forward in the class. And if they didn't watch the video at night, well, they could pull up a pair of headphones and watch it in the first 10 minutes of class. How long are the videos? So there isn't one magical number out there. The book addressed that the video should be no longer than 18 minutes, but I even find that to be pretty long. Some of the brain research that I read about in The Brain Rules by John Medina talked about that students really have a 10-minute attention span, and that really all direct input that you want should happen within a 10-minute chunk. So I always try and keep my videos shorter than 10 minutes. Does this increase the amount of homework time? I think it's the opposite. I think it actually decreases the amount of homework time because now we're looking at content delivery rather than some of that critical thinking and critical discourse we're asking the students to do at night, which I think actually takes longer for them to do. So no, it doesn't increase the homework time because we're not giving them additional work, we're just giving them different work. Does it work? Well, I think some of the detractors to the flipped classroom model might reference the fact that direct input and lectures don't work. So if they don't work while the teacher is standing in front of the classroom, why will they work if they're coming off as a homework video? And when I first did this, I think there was a novelty factor, and the kids really engaged in it really fast because it was really novel. But after a while, that novelty wore off, and it still became to the point where I was doing direct input to the students. So I think we have to look at what strategies we are using in our flipped classroom model and make sure that we still need to use best practices. We still need to do activities that we know work best for our students and incorporating them into this model. And what I found actually is by giving some of that content at home, I actually had more time to do some of those engaging activities that I found most fruitful in the class with the students. Where do you get the videos from? Well, when I started this, there were not a lot of videos out there. There were some to choose from, and I leaned on the internet pretty heavily, but I also started creating some of my own. Now it'd be a little bit unreasonable to, try and make a video for every PowerPoint that you have in your computer over the course of a school year, but this thing is a process, and I think it's fine to do a little bit of a blend. Get a video from here or there. There are a lot of content creators out there that do a much better job creating videos than I could ever do and just teaching a lesson than I could ever do. That being said, there are times when I think the students enjoyed hearing me and seeing me do the video because maybe they're a little bit more comfortable with hearing me and my approach. The biggest challenge that I faced was that I jumped from this teacher-centered classroom to a student-centered classroom too fast. I just went from the students being completely dependent on me for knowledge to the students having no dependence on me for knowledge. And I think we have to realize that this is a continuum. You don't need to go and flip every single lesson that you have in your classroom. You don't need to be completely engaged in one side of this for all of your activities. You need to get to know your students, and you need to figure out which ones lend themselves better for this model, which ones don't. This isn't an all or nothing type of a solution. So, how do you get started? So, Mr. Pistaka is going to help you out with Edpuzzle. We are going to make a video. We're going to take a video. We're going to make any video into your own lesson. We're going to give you a chance to see how you could crop a Khan Academy or a TED Ed video, how to add your own voice into it, how to put in multiple choice questions, comments, or discussions. And then Mr. Hill afterwards will come in and show you guys how to use Camtasia Studio if you want to create your own videos. Get a little screenshot of yourself in the bottom right-hand corner. And then use a PowerPoint, something similar to what I'm doing right now. My students in the past have mentioned to me they like it when I put my head in the bottom right-hand corner as I'm talking. I'm not really too sure why, but I took that feedback and started doing it, and Camtasia lets you to do that. So I hope you enjoy your sessions.